3 weeks ago, I wrote a letter to the Prime Minister asking him to intervene and to hold the Deputy Prime Minister to account for the way that I had been treated. The Prime Minister has not responded.
In a stunning development today, Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles' Chief of Staff has launched legal action against her boss and the government. Here with more from the nation's capital is federal politics reporter Ellen Ransley. Okay, Ellen, what do we know about this lawsuit?
Hi, Ben. So, this is Jo Tarnowski. She's technically still employed by Mr. Marles. She has served as his chief of staff and she's in limbo. So she's launched this legal action against Mr. Marles, against the Prime Minister's chief of staff and the Commonwealth, alleging adverse action under the Fair Work Act. Ms. Tarnowski alleges that she was bullied by another colleague in Mr. Marles' office. And when she went to the DPM to detail these bullying and harassment allegations, she was essentially punished out of the office. So she's not accused Mr. Marles of bullying her. The Prime Minister's Chief of Staff isn't accused of bullying her. The lawsuit is around how they dealt with her allegations. She claims that since April, when she spoke to Mr. Marles about this, she has been blocked from doing her job. She's been locked out of the office. She's been kind of moved around different departments and forced onto different kinds of leave. But she is still employed. So it's a bit murky. We're just going to have to wait and see, I guess, how this plays out in the court over the next coming months.
And what do we know about the timeline of the original incident?
Yeah, so it sounds like, having read through the statement of claim, it sounds like there wasn't one particular incident. It kind of built up over time. But they were on a trip to Ukraine earlier this year, Ms. Tarnowski, Mr. Marles, and the senior staff member. And it sounds like things really escalated there. Among the allegations, she says this staff member routinely undermined her authority, belittled and criticised her in front of other staff, including within earshot of the minister, withheld information, isolated Ms. Tarnowski from team activities and treated her in an abrasive, hostile and exclusionary manner. I'm quoting there. Now, it sounds like this all came to a head during quite a stressful trip to Ukraine in April. Ms. Tarnowski raised her concerns with Mr. Marles on the flight back, and they agreed to speak later. Having read her statements of claims, she says Mr. Marles, praised her for the work she did, but then days later went to the Prime Minister's office, his chief of staff, and told them he didn't want her to be in his office anymore. And then Mr. Marles and Ms. Tarnowski had a conversation at the end of April, and Mr. Marles told her there'd been issues with her for over a year and that it wasn't fixable and that she should leave while looking for another job. Now, I should say our government spokesperson has said because this is subject to legal proceedings, they won't be commenting further. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. For the courts now, we'll have to wait and see what the government says in response.
And in terms of the likely timeline of a lawsuit, do we know anything about that?
Her lawyer this morning said it could take up to a year for this to play out in the courts. So, you know how the courts work. We just kind of have to wait and see. The government has some time to lodge a response, and then I guess we go from there. She is seeking punitive damages and compensation, though. So that's what her lawyer has said this morning.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see as it plays out through the courts if it ends up getting
Absolutely.
that far. Federal politics reporter Ellen Ransley, thanks for bringing us this fascinating development on the Nightly Five.
Thanks, Ben.